everybody. Welcome back to Safe Space Talk. Today we're going to be talking to Rayshell about her birth story. What baby was this for you?
My last one, my sixth one.
Your sixth one. Okay, so we're going to be talking about her sixth baby. Before we do that, we're going to light our candle real quick to put out good energy into the atmosphere for everybody watching.
I know that's right.
Exactly. Look, or the witchcraft that your daddy said we doing up in here.
It's not witchcraft, Daddy. It's not witchcraft. It's just good energy.
Daddy, we promise. We promise we've got great intentions.
All right, so this is for anybody going through anything, needing a little bit of uplifting, needing some positive energy, or just needing the hope to make it through another day. Even if it's a really shitty day today, hang around a little bit longer, and hopefully it will get better.
And I've been burning some sage because some bad energy is trying to be sitting around me. So this is burn, baby, burn. Burn that mess.
Right.
Burn that shit, honey. My mom said, Renee, you all right today? I can smell the sage. Yes, honey. You're going to keep smelling that sage.
All right, so set the scene for us. Tell us kind of how your pregnancy went, what kind of, like your situation was at the time, what was all kind of going on with you.
Yeah, so before her, every pregnancy was normal. I just never made it to the full 40 weeks. I think the longest that I made it to was 38. And that was with my 10-year-old. So I wasn't, like, I guess, surprised about when I went into my first visit and the doctor's like, he used a term, I forgot what it was, for someone who was giving birth to, I believe, 5+ babies.
Oh,
grand
mole tip.
Yes. So he used that term and he put me on some type of medication for bleed, like to prevent, like iron pills, for me to, because he said, he was like, don't worry, it just means that you're, more prone to maybe heavier bleeding because of the history of, the multiple births, but it's nothing to worry about. Now, mind you, this practice has multiple doctors. The main doctor for this practice, she was in Atlanta. Her name is Dr. Tracy Lemon. She was amazing. And Dr. It started with an H. He was another one of the doctors in practice. That was the only time I saw him, was my first appointment. After that, it was other people. But what he said to me kind of stuck in my mind, but I kept trying to shake it off. Like, I've been good all this time. What could possibly go wrong? My pregnancy's fine. Everything is going good until I start experiencing some, heavy cramping, contractions, because I had a history of contracting early. I had to be put in the hospital for 2 weeks on magnesium with my 10-year-old because I just kept contracting. So it wasn't anything new, but they were just a little stronger than what I normally would experience. I went to the doctor. She checked me. She said that I was only 3 centimeters, nothing to worry about. But it just got the pain just got a little progressively worse. And I woke up one day and I was bleeding.
And how many weeks are we by chance?
By that time, I was 36 and a half.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was 36 and a half weeks. And I went into the hospital and, I didn't think anything of it. I'm thinking, they're going to check me and send me home. But, I was experiencing a little bit of bleeding. And the nurse comes in and she checks me. And when she, pulls her hand back, I see there's a lot of blood on her hands. I'm like, what is going on? And so she said something to me, and this had never happened before. She said, she was like, you're 3 centimeters and bulging. And I was like, what is that? And you guys, I'm sure you guys already know what that is, and I had never went through that before. For my first daughter, my water broke on its own at 36 weeks, but subsequently after that, I had to have my water broken, but I had never, experienced, the bulging bag. So at that point, they made the decision to keep me, and I made the decision before I got into the hospital that I didn't want to get an epidural. I wanted to try to thug it out, naturally, because I had always had epidurals. So when I got checked in, everything is going good. And then I started getting sick. Like, everything that could possibly happen during labor happened to me. It never had happened before. I never threw up. I may have, like, pooped a time or two, but I never got, like, my oldest daughter. And, my mom, rest in peace, she just passed in June. She was a registered nurse for almost 20 years.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes, thank you. With the Emory system in Georgia. So every birth, it's funny, she happens to always be working or getting off work. My children are literally delivered early in the morning, so she's about to get off. So she comes in full blown scrubs, ready to rumble. You know, they sometimes they would have to tell her to, like, we got this. We know you got,
Stay in your lane,
you
lady.
can do this. Right, exactly. When I did it when I had my oldest and I pooped and I was so embarrassed, she wiped it up like it was nothing, and she like slapped my thighs like, all right, come on, let's go, get to pushing. I'm like, you just did that so normally. Like, I was like so grossed out. It's my first baby. But like I said, with my last, it feels like I went through everything you could have possibly went through. I got the chills, shakes, the fever, the
That's the
sweating.
unmedicated part.
I threw up. That was the first for me. It was just a lot.
I want to say I'm jealous of you that you went through all those labors without throwing up, because I threw up every single time.
I never threw up in labor.
That was how I knew I was in labor.
Yeah, no, I never had like the home labor pains. I'm always having to go to the hospital and then they catch it. So I never got the experience of, being at home and laboring and then going, I'm always, they always catch it right on time. Like with one of my daughters, I'll happen to go to the doctor's office and they're like, okay, you need to go in tonight. So, it's kind of like those type of scenarios. But like I said, I went through everything. I threw up. I was in every position. Normally I lay down. I try to stay still to focus on the pain, but I was up, I was down, I was bent over. Like, I didn't even care. Like, I was contracting so bad. And they had already given me the Pitocin, and they put like one of the chucks on the side on the floor. And I was doing the squats and all that. And I remember I went down, I squatted, and I came back up and I felt her drop. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I'm getting in the bed like, okay, they were trying to offer me the epidural, but I'm like, she's coming. And funnily enough, the doctor had literally just walked off because I had her at Northside Hospital, and there's North Atlanta OBGYN is like literally the building next door. So she was trying to she literally was at the bridge point, and they like called her back, to cross over back to the regular office, because that's how fast it happened. So I'm pushing, everything is fine. But then I noticed that the doctor is inside of me more than what I'm used to. The placenta's already out. But I noticed that it seems like she's having a hard time controlling the bleeding, but I didn't want to panic at that time. So, I'm going through the motions. It's very painful. It felt as if she was scratching the inside of me. I'm crying. I'm being there. They said I was being combative. I'm pushing back. It got to a point where there were two nurses like holding me down. And the doctor is just she tried to do a balloon. The balloon got pushed out. She's like, I've never seen anybody push a balloon out. Like, what's going on? She tried gauze. She tried something else. And I'm at this point, my vitals are out there. They obviously been monitoring me. My vitals are spiking. I have an oxygen mask on my face. They are inserting another IV in my other arm, and they're holding me, and it's just the worst pain that imaginable. It just, I can't even really. Like I said, it's just like somebody's just scratching my inside.
It sounds like they were doing a vaginal sweep.
And it sounds like they were trying to place a Bakri.
Yeah, because it doesn't sound like a Jada.
So eventually, the doctor, she, soaks up more of the blood, because at this point I'm just bleeding. I haven't even had the skin to skin with my baby.
I was just about to say, where's the baby at with all this? If they're holding you down,
I'm listening to her vitals and stuff, and I'm smiling. I'm happy, but I'm also concerned. I'm trying not to be. And so when she finally looked, she's like, "Oh, there's a tear on your cervix." So there's this nurse. No, listen. It's gonna get
Linda, listen.
So, she's like, there's a tear on your cervix. So there's a white lady standing right there next to her, and she's got a needle and thread ready. And I'm scared at this point. I'm like, oh God, like I gotta get stitched. Like I'm not ready. I'm pain. I just gave birth. Everything is going through my mind. But the doctor's like, no, she's already been combative. We're gonna take her to
the OR.
The OR.
Yep.
So boom, I'm there. They take me to the OR. At this point, I'm shivering like a mug. Like I'm cold. I don't know what's
losing a
going
lot of
on.
blood. Yeah, all those hormones.
I did not realize. I did not feel like they didn't tell me at that time. So I'm shivering. I'm cold. I'm in there. There's only about maybe 4 or 5 people. The standard people. I meet the anesthesiologist. He comes in, very bright smile guy. He introduces himself. And he's like, no, we're gonna go ahead and give this to you right now. We gotta hurry up and get everything situated. I'm like, okay, fine. And the only thing I remember is just being very cold as I went out. So I wake up, and I'm familiar with the labor and delivery unit with Northside Hospital because I have my son there. So I'm waking up and I'm looking. I'm like, I don't recognize this room. I'm on the ground floor, and the mother baby unit is upstairs.
Yeah.
I'm in this room. I'm hooked up, like both arms. I look to my right, my right arm is so much gauze. It hurts. It's so much gauze wrapped around where the first IV was. I look at my left arm. There's so much gauze and stuff wrapped around where the second IV was. And then I look at my hand, and they had put an A-line into my hand, my wrist.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the little splinter thing, like a blue thing, the stabilizer, like a little stabilizer. And I'm just like, what the hell happened? And they tell me basically that my uterus ruptured, and I needed an emergency hysterectomy.
Wow. What? Plot twist.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
So we were from a cervical lac?
I told you I was going to throw you guys for a loop.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if the cervical lac was the bottom of it and it extended up into your uterus.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, boom, listen. I'm going to fast forward for a second. Remember the doctor that I told you that I saw the one time I saw him again after everything transpired? I'm going to go back. But he told me, he was like, this is crazy that you're sitting in front of me because this is something that we in medical school train for, but it doesn't really happen. We train for this, like it's like a gauntlet for like it's something that you guys study a lot, but it's not a normal occurrence.
No, it's not.
No.
So, okay, so boom, go back. I'm shocked. My mom comes in there.
Oh yeah, she ready.
I noticed that my stomach is like burning. I didn't know how, what, or what. I know that my mother had a hysterectomy years ago when I was in high school, and they did it laparoscopically. So she's coming in there. I'm gonna be blunt. She talking shit. Girl, you'll be all right. She's thinking that I got it done that way. But once the nurse pulled, I couldn't. I'm just laying there. The nurse pulled back my gown, and she's like, "Oh my God," because I've got about a 6-inch cut going across my abdomen.
Yeah.
And
why am I still confused though?
I mean, if they have a ruptured hysterectomy, you probably can't get it out laparoscopically or vaginally quick enough. If you're bleeding that fast.
Basically, this is what happened. They explained to me what happened. I was in the ICU unit. That is why I was not on the familiar floor, and that is why unfortunately, I didn't have those first couple days. I did not have with my baby. I had to express breast milk, but I didn't get to, have that contact with her because of how, obviously severe stuff can be in, the trauma unit. So for her safety, she had to be up there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in this state-of-the-art room. There's a TV screen. At any given moment, the administrator, whoever it is, she can pop in and talk to me. Like it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was that type of room. And so I remember that first day, everybody's coming in and I'm trying to figure out why everybody's like shocked, like, oh my God, you're awake and you're up, because the nurse that I had, she wanted me to be comfortable. She wanted me to be clean. She cleaned me off with wipes. I had stuff all on my face. I didn't know it at the time, but I had a tube down my throat. I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I had like spit and like stuff all going down the side of my mouth. And she cleaned me up and she helped me stand up. I went to the bathroom and she helped me sit in the chair. So everybody's coming in, the anesthesiologist, the attending nurses, the doctor, everybody's coming in, they're looking at me, they're like, wow, you're sitting up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, wow, like you're sitting up and you're, I couldn't eat, of course I couldn't eat solid food, but I was, drinking the soup. I was alert, I was awake, I was walking.
I feel bad because I feel like that's
bathroom.
appropriate. Within 6 hours, you should be up and moving.
So I wonder, did they ever?
I wonder why they're so surprised that you're up and moving. Though.
How much did they ever tell you how much blood you ended up losing?
Yes, I was just about to get to that. 7.5 liters.
Oh my God,
girl.
Yeah, that's why they looking at you.
That's why they looking at you. They thought they killed you.
Yeah. No, they said something about I coded on the table, whatever.
There we go.
They had to. There was nobody immediately available to cut me. They had to consult, not consult, but get an oncologist to come and cut me.
Oh, wow.
So, an oncologist was attending my surgery. It went from she said the surgery room went from 5 to 15, 20 people. She said, how you see it in the movies, that's how it looked. When she fixed the tear first, but I'm steady bleeding and they're not understanding where it's coming from. And they finally did the further investigation, realized my uterus ruptured toward the back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they didn't immediately catch it, and then it turned into an emergency situation just that quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. I delivered Angel. It was 11:15, and I think I was out of surgery.
Please say 11 a.m. 11 a.m.
Yeah, 11 p.m.
Of course you did. Of course you did, because nobody is working there at 11 p.m.
But everybody, even the anesthesiologist, he came in and he was saying that he was like, I'm surprised you're up. Most people still have the tube down their throat, but yours is gone. And I'm like, that explains why it feels like I got knocked in the teeth. My mouth is sore. I didn't understand. But yeah, I didn't know I had the tube down my throat, everything. They explained to me why I had the A-line, because they had to continue to collect so much blood from me, because they had to test my blood levels. Obviously, I had all types of blood products, all that stuff put back inside of me. So yeah, that was, that's what it was. And I went to go visit. Literally 2 weeks after that, I went to the doctor, and that's what. His Dr. Hackney. And I saw him, and he's like, "What are you doing here? You got a baby 2 weeks ago." They were waiting for the official report from the hospital. So he got it, and when he walked in the room, he just looked like he was seeing a ghost. After he read everything, he sat down and he just took the deepest sigh, and he leaned. I'll never forget. He leaned over and he looked at me. He said, "We talked about this." I said, "We sure did." He said, I don't even see how you're sitting in front of me right now. He was like, this is something that we train for, that, we prepare for, but it don't happen like that. Like, he was like, this is probably going to be studied. Like, they're probably going to use this, as an example for something. He was like, because this is crazy. He was like, in all my years of working with, this healthcare system, being in the industry, it hasn't happened on his watch.
So it sounds like, if I'm interpreting it correctly, you had an unmedicated birth, you delivered, you pushed, had the baby, didn't get a chance to do skin to skin, started having postpartum hemorrhage. Then they said, oh, we think it's a cervical laceration rather, turned out to be the entire back of the uterus that was actually opening up. And so they took you, while they were in the OR, they realized that your uterus had ruptured. So basically it's like a balloon that has a long tear in it. And they have to take that entire organ out now. And then they put you on the ICU unit after that, and then had to give you a lot of blood replacement.
So
I lost my left ovary and fallopian tube.
I was about to say, did they keep the tubes?
Yes, I still have a small piece of my cervix, and my right fallopian ovary.
So
I was worried about that, because I was reading up on menopause. They had told me, so I was in the hospital crying like, I don't want to grow hair. Like
I don't want hair there.
But when I got the thing and I saw, like, whew, like it was a relief. But some people are like, "Oh, you never had a C-section?" Because the pain afterwards was just horrible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't really, I was in the hospital myself because we had, young kids. My significant other at the time couldn't be there. So when I was in the hospital with the baby, it was a lot of me having to lower the bed all the way to the ground just to get in the bed, out of the bed. It was extremely painful. But it healed amazingly according to them. It looked amazing. It looked great. To me, it did because you could barely see it. And I didn't have to have anything taken out. The stitches were dissolvable.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a plus. But it was definitely painful, but it was very eye opening. I was just like, wow, this.
The risks of
really,
birth, yeah.
So my question, whenever you were going in to have this baby, I know you said it was number 6. Did you think in your mind that you already kind of had a mindset, I don't want more kids after this? Or were you open to still having more kids and now you've had this hysterectomy and obviously that's no longer an option?
I got asked that question a lot. And from an emotional standpoint, I did feel like a part of my womanhood was gone because I was like, if I did wanted to have more children, I couldn't, because the person I was with at the time, I experienced a lot of domestic violence, which is initially why we split apart. And I found someone who, is the love of my life. And it's like, I can't, even though we both have, children collectively on both sides, it's still just like a back of the mind thing, like, hey, why can't I give this man children, but this crazy psycho?
Exactly.
It's a back and forth thing.
I'm telling you, that psycho sperm is that psycho semen is different.
Yeah,
it just hit different. But if you're sane, if you got sane semen, that stuff is just walking around like Ray Charles at the doggone microphone, like I don't see nothing.
Right.
But that psycho semen know right where to go.
Exactly. But everybody asks me that question. I say no because I have 5 girls and 1 boy. So my goal was to get my boy, and I got him, but I wasn't expecting another girl. But she's the light of my life. She's so bright and smart. So it's okay. But of course, in the back of my mind, I'll be like, dang, if I did, I'll be able to have a baby. But then I'm like, I don't got no period. I don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I still have to get the checkups, of course, because I do have that piece of cervix. They did explain that to me. So I do keep up with that. And I don't have any issues. I still have numbing. She's 6 now. Well, she's about to be 6. So I've had numbing since then. I've gotten used to it. It's not like a huge area of numbing. It's like towards the bottom. I know that everything was pretty rushed because it turned into a serious situation so fast.
Really fast.
So I get why maybe the feeling hasn't come back. They had to rush. I get it. They saved my life. You know what I'm saying? So I am grateful that I was able to even live past that experience and be the way I am now. Like I said, in the back of my mind, of course, I'm like, we'll give baby, but other than that, I'm just grateful that it was something I can go through and I can talk about. Because when I tell everybody, they're like, "Oh my God, are you serious?" Like I get the same reaction. They're like, "What?" Like, "Oh my God, you were such a miracle. You're still living." Da, 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 da. I've heard it all. I've told this story multiple times. And the more times I tell it, the less emotional I become because I did cry a lot in the beginning. But I moved past that.
That's what I was gonna say, though. Do you feel like did you have like any therapy for it? Because that was traumatic.
That's traumatic.
That is very traumatic. Did you have any kind of therapy for that, or was it just you retelling your story?
Yeah, just me telling my story. Honestly, I didn't get to get much therapy because I was dealing with the DV, and then we had COVID, and I was getting stalked. It was a lot, so I didn't get a chance to really dive into that part of my mental when I was doing the therapy because we all had therapy, but it was kind of halted because of COVID and stuff like that. But yeah, me telling it is, it helps, and then watching her helps it even more. Watching her grow up and like, little girl, you put me through something.
Yes.
But she's a handful, but she is so smart, so energetic. In kindergarten student of the month, outstanding citizenship, and I'm just like, that was all worth it. You
Yeah.
know,
Absolutely.
if I had to do it again, if I knew what was going on, I had to do it again, I would, because she's worth every bit of what I went through. You know, it was very scary. You know, you try not to panic in those type of situations. You know what I'm saying? Because and it's funny because the doctor said that too while she was, you know, pushing her. I'm talking about she's elbow deep inside of me.
Oh yeah, we know.
And it hurt so bad. Like, but she was like, Miss Turner, you're gonna have to be still, otherwise I'm gonna have to take your uterus. And I remember stopping, and in that moment, when I'm thinking back in that moment, I'm like, I shouldn't have been worried about it at the time. I can't believe I was even worried about it, an ounce worried about my uterus, knowing what I know now about what happened. You know what I'm saying, afterwards. But in that moment, I'm like, save my uterus, you know?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
But now I'm like, oh man,
damn that uterus.
I was, but I'm looking back and I'm like, dang, I was literally starting to dying on that table. You know what I'm saying? I'm bleeding out, I'm dying, and I didn't even realize. You know, I'm getting lightheaded, I'm feeling stuff I never felt before. I'm starting to panic. You know, I'm getting that black closed in sensation. I'm already claustrophobic, so I was in there just whooping and hollering. You know, but it was painful. I couldn't help it. Like, they're telling me to be still, and I just couldn't. It was crazy. It was literally two guys on either side of the nurses just holding me, and then they're holding my arm, trying to steady it to give me more IV. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, what? They're like, we got to get some blood in you. They're bringing 2 little bags of blood. Like, and I needed way more than that. Didn't even know it. So,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's crazy how you can walk in and you have a birth plan, and we truly do. Like, we go in and we have this safety net of, oh, I just need to do this. I just need to make it through the birth. Oh, I just need to make it through the placenta. Oh, I just need to make it through, the first nursing session. And you don't realize that is not the end. That is not where risks and benefits, risk versus benefits and things like that come to a close. So that is really incredible that you made it through. We're so grateful that you shared that with us.
Yeah.
But that is one of the things, and they should counsel you when you get admitted. With every birth, there's always the chance that you will need a hysterectomy.
Yep, I do. I tell all my patients, there's always the risk of death or needing a hysterectomy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what I was saying when the doctor told me in the beginning. I don't know why when that moment I instantly got scared. Like, something was just like nagging at me, like,
that sage.
You need to be on your P's and Q's, with your pregnancy or something like that. You know, I'm just like,
it was that sage.
What is it? Like, what why is this nagging at me so much? Like,
that's why it was nagging. You know why it's nagging. Now you know why, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you were burning that sage every day. Keisha's laughing, but I'm serious. I'm like, no. Whenever there are times where you listen to someone, and especially if you're an empath or you're a high vibration person, something that they say sticks out.
Yeah.
And it's stupid. Like, you're like, why is this the part of the conversation I remember the most?
Right.
And that's why you remembered it, because you're probably either high vibration or you're an empath, and you collect on to that because your spirit was like, get yourself prepared, get your energy prepared, because we're gonna try and recuperate.
And I'm trying to shake it off. In labor, I'm asleep or I'm laying down, I'm chilling like this. I'm up, I'm down, I'm squatting, I'm bent over, like booty out. I'm like, oh my goodness, like that. It just, I don't know. The pain was more intense. It was just, everything was just speaking to me like, Shell, something not right. Like, just everything. I'm just like, I'm what? My bag going where? I got the what? Like, I'm just like, what is this? Like, it was, like I said, it seemed like that was, God, like, this your last place. I'm gonna take you through everything. I felt everything that you could possibly go through in labor. I went through, and then some.
I do want to say thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Yes.
Of course.
Very, very
Thank
much.
you guys for having me.